So, a warm welcome, everyone, and good evening to this Honoring Life series. Today, we will be focusing on the gift of life. My name is Nirmala, your host this afternoon. I volunteer with both the Janki Foundation for Spirituality in Healthcare and the Brahma Kumaris. This event is a joint collaboration of these two charities. So I currently work in mental health, and so this topic, honoring life, is really close to my heart, knowing that there's lots of challenges people are experiencing during these challenging times. Before we move on, just a little bit about some instructions to let you know that the videos and mics will be off throughout the session. The session is being recorded and also being streamed live on Facebook. Reason being, we will have the videos for future use if you would like to on the Janki Foundation website. So throughout the session, we would be asking if you have any questions to post those in the chat box, and we would, or comments, and we would be able to view them. So this event is really with 3 speakers and a session for question and answers later on. So let me just share a little bit about these 2 charities. So the Janki Foundation for Spirituality in Healthcare is a UK-based charity which encourages research and awareness in the field of spirituality and health. And the Brahma Kumaris is a worldwide spiritual movement dedicated to personal transformation and world renewal. So we started with this Honoring Life series middle of this year, and this event is a follow-up of the 2 previous events we've had. The first one was looking at honoring life, facing the effects of the loss of loved ones. And following on that, we looked at honoring life, dealing with loss, trauma, and grief. So these events can be viewed on the Janki Foundation website if you're interested in these topics. But today we continue with this series of honoring life, and the theme for today is the gift of life. And in our flyer, we had a quotation from the Dalai Lama, and I really thought it would be worthwhile to read that out. And he says, we cannot hope to die peacefully if our lives have been full of violence, or if our minds have mostly been agitated by emotions such as anger, attachment, or fear. So if we wish to die well, we must learn how to live well. So hoping for a peaceful death, we must cultivate peace in our minds and in our way of life. And so today we are focusing on the gift of life and how we can actually create such a life that we want. So we have 3 speakers with us this evening. So we have Bhavesh Chohan from Leicester. Welcome, Bhavesh. And Natalie Steele from Loughborough. And Cherry Steinberg from Leeds. So special welcome to you 3 of you all. Bhavesh, right? Finally I can see you. And you've grown a beard since we've had the photos. So welcome, you 3. And so today you all will be sharing, each sharing from your life experience on this topic of the gift of life. So after each of you share, we'll have a discussion and take some questions from the audience through the chat. So I thought it would be nice for the audience to know who who you are and to make sure that you're here. So I'd like to now introduce our first speaker, so Bhavesh. Bhavesh has worked in health, fitness, and is a lifestyle coach. And he's been helping people in Leicester for over 8 years, becoming healthier, fitter, and also happier. I like that very much. So Bhavesh, you're going to share how your personal journey has led you to pursue a career in personal training, helping people, helping others to achieve their own health, fitness, and lifestyle goals. So you've said you've been working with many clients over the years, haven't you? And out of those, you thought it might be worthwhile to share a couple of case studies which has really inspired you to take action on your own health and fitness goal, but also to share that with the audience so they might also be inspired to take action on their own health and fitness goals. So special welcome and thank you for taking this time to be with us. So I'll now hand over to you to share.
Thank you, Nima. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well and had a good weekend so far. I thought I'd just introduce myself first. So my name is Bhavesh. I'm based here in Leicester. I've been a personal trainer for the last 8 years. I'm going to talk a little bit about my background into it so it makes more sense of where I come from and the empathy I have with people, especially when I work with them. As a child, I was quite overweight and my parents put me into grassroots football. So that's kind of where my fitness journey almost started. And this was just for general health and also the fact that clothing didn't fit me and my confidence back then wasn't as great. That kind of stemmed into me playing football at a fairly high level through college, through schooling, as generally you want to be a better sportsman. When I look back at academically, I was always good at practical things, and PE for me was one of the most enjoyable lessons. Now, traveling through that era of time and trying to improve my performance almost whilst playing football, that's how I kind of got the word I'm looking for is probably inspired through teachers, but also kind of like the health aspect of things and how the body worked. And then that almost led me to a career into personal training, after which I stopped playing football. Just for an injury, just through lack of enjoyment. And this was the age of like, say, 20 years old. Through that time, at the same time, I was studying for accountancy. Now, I know this talks about gift of life and kind of, for me, it's almost like a calling at that point in time in my life where I had to choose whether I wanted to go around the accountancy route or actually pursue what for me, what I think is my gift of life in terms of giving back to people and to be able to help them through their journey. And that's through personal training. So I took my first clients on back then, and obviously 8 years on now, I still work with clients on a one-to-one basis here in Leicester. So yeah, my journey, like I said, starts from me being grassroots, playing football, being overweight, and then now transitioning to almost a career in it, helping other people do the same with their health and fitness. And it's quite almost reflective of a time like this, especially through this pandemic, how important health and fitness is. We're hearing a lot of cases and people are passing off because of other underlying health conditions, which personally I believe that can be overridden by a good level of health and fitness and general well-being. Now, when I work with clients, I always focus on their health, their fitness, but also their lifestyle. And that's a combination of all aspects from health, fitness, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and just general well-being, to understand that you need to have a good grasp of these things and a collection of these elements, all in balance with yourself, to enjoy the gift of life that we've all got. We're all here, and if you're able to watch this, then we're in a very fortunate position. So yeah, over the time, I've worked with many different clients, and I thought I'd share a couple of case studies that really have stuck with me, and I also reflect back to a lot of other people about to inspire them and in their lives. So one client was a female client I worked with, and for them it was just about getting generally fitter and healthier, improving their asthma or removing their asthma almost, and that's what they came to me for. And through that journey, it evolved into achieving a lifelong goal of hers, and that was to climb Kilimanjaro. Now, that wouldn't have been possible had she not overcome her improvement in fitness and general confidence that she then brought up whilst working with myself. Now, when I think back to that story, it's like your journey, wherever you are, may be in life or where you are with health and fitness, you're at your own set point and you've got to move forward from that point. And you never know where it might lead up to and what accomplishments you can achieve, especially when you've got a lifelong goal of doing something, but you don't have the confidence or you don't have the physical capabilities of doing that and conquering it. One thing through training and nutrition and looking at your lifestyle generally is that when you apply investment into yourself, you almost appreciate your life overall. And it gives you that confidence and that mental strength and physical strength to take you on beyond that. So that teaching for me was that you can do anything. At the same time, you just be willing to take on any challenges that you have in that moment in time. Now, the second story really kind of hit home for what I can do with working with people. And that was a client of mine, and still is a client of mine, who was at a family business with his brothers. And whilst working with, whilst going through the journey of building that business, took an impact on his health and fitness in his family life, reaching towards alcohol as an escape. And for that reason, he decided to make a change in his life to think back to, he's got 2 young kids that he wants to be around with. And he didn't really feel fulfilled in what he was doing with his brothers as a business. So he worked on himself, and he then came to losing over 18 kilos of body weight, which in itself is a massive achievement. And physically and visually, you can see the transition and transformation in himself. Gave him the confidence to be able to speak at public events. And it then drove in him to actually pursue his gift of life and what he truly wanted to do as a passion and as a career. So he left the family business, which was making a good amount of revenue and had given him a good quality of life in terms of financial freedom. But it took a lot of energy from him, and it took a lot of time away from him, and he neglected his health, which with any business owner, with any person's life, wealth has mean nothing when your health is deteriorating. And once you don't have your health, the wealth is, no matter how much money you throw at things, you're never going to get it really back. And that's why you've got to invest in yourself with that side of things. Now, he left the business. He then pursued what he wanted to do. He overcame the fact that he was reaching for alcohol. He looked for other outlets, more healthier habits and a lifestyle. And now he's present with his family, his kids, his wife, and he's just a better family man. And when you see the transition in people when they've worked with you, you see how much of a change they can make. And all it takes is that step forward to be able to do that. And so I'm going to hopefully just round things off now with my portion of the talk and ask you the question, like, how much change can you impact? How much things that you want to achieve? And what will health and fitness, improving that in your life, what will that mean to you? So that's just my little take on this gift of life and what it means to me, and how much it can impact your life. And I know health, fitness is a massive priority, and it should be for everyone. And I hope you all are inspired from my talk and enjoy the rest of the session.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Bhavesh. You've touched on, looking at overall health and well-being, and you've talked about physical, mental, emotional. Don't know if you've touched on the spiritual, but our other speakers might be able to pick up on that. But one of the things that you mentioned that I really like is that when you invest in your life, you gain that confidence and you really appreciate it more. So thank you very much. And of course, we'll see you in a bit when we have the Q&A. So I'd like to now introduce our second speaker. So Natalie, welcome, a special welcome. So Natalie Steele from Loughborough. And Natalie has had her profession in the social services, working with people with learning disabilities. And you've been practicing meditation, you said 27 years, and you coordinate the Brahma Kumari's Meditation Center in Loughborough in Leicester. And you've been doing that for over 12 years as part of your voluntary contribution to the community. But currently you work as a chaplain at Loughborough University, offering sessions on self-development, online and in person to students and staff. So that's really nice to know. So Natalie, you're going to share with us from your personal experience the value of self-care and how bringing in meditation and spirituality into our lives can have an impact. So welcome and thank you again for being with us, and I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Nimala. It's lovely to be with you all this afternoon, evening, and a little bit more about me. As Nimala said, yes, I currently run a meditation centre for the Brahma Kumaris in Loughborough and have been for a number of years. But prior to that, I've had various careers. I started off from my A-levels in banking, finance in the City of London. Then finding that maybe a career that didn't suit me, making lots of money. We were hearing, as Bhavesh was saying, there's more than just making money. But then I moved into television, working in the world of TV, and I was a TV scheduler, and I thought this world of creativity and would be my dream come true, and I'd be very happy in this. But again, realizing that actually that was not the world that really suited me. And finally, after some study, and I moved into social services, social care, where I had a whole profession in that area. And all of that was interspersed with traveling across the world. So, this is a gift for me, actually, having had a variety of experiences and spending this time going out there and discovering that there's a big world out there. But this whole journey enabled me to discover what I wanted from life and how I wanted to live. So I didn't realize at that time that actually I was looking for me through all these experiences. I was actually searching for peace. I was looking for happiness through all the things that I did. So looking for love, looking from someone or something, or peace through an experience of travel, actually. I remember when I was in the Bahamas and I had the blue sea in front of me and the white sand, and it's so idyllic. I remember dreaming at work that I'd love to be in a place like this. I'd find peace there. But actually, when I was there, it was a strange experience. I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel satisfied. And actually, at that time, it confused me even more. I thought there must be something wrong with me. Here I am, not a care in the world, enough money to keep me going for a while, and freedom to travel through America. And I didn't feel fulfilled. But anyway, that was part of my journey. And necessary. I was looking for me. I was on that search of what's life all about and who am I. But eventually coming back and I discovered meditation. I took a meditation course, and then I learned some understandings about myself. Who am I? And what's the purpose of my life? I started to unravel that. And so from there, which is 27 years ago, a journey of self-discovery and getting to know myself. And meditation for me is and continues to be the tool for me to discover who I am and my purpose. And the greatest gift of life, that I discovered that peace is what I am. Too busy looking out there, searching for it, which is I am peace. Love is an aspect of my character. Joy is an aspect of my character. I used to like to go shopping and spending and looking for happiness by accumulating things. But when I found out about meditation as a tool for self-discovery, then that has been the greatest gift for me. And what was missing in my life? Why was there that emptiness? Why was there that void? Spirituality. And we've heard from Bhavesh talk about, he talked about fitness and looking after the physical health, the body and our emotions, that it all comes as the full package. And I think when I really ground myself in who I am and my spirituality, then I start to see the importance of all aspects of my life. I start to gain a balance in looking after my physical health and also managing my work life, because I didn't always run a meditation center. When I started meditation, I was working full time. But when I started to discover who I am and ground myself in my spirituality, then I could manage the stresses of my work life, looked after my health a bit better, and my relationships. There's no doubt that my personal relationships improved a lot more. And one of the reasons for that, because I wasn't focusing on them, expectation of them, I was focusing on myself and improving myself and working on myself. And this is a daily practice for me now, and it's an ongoing regular practice that yes, I won't move away from. I'm consciously spending time understanding myself. And I used to think that why am I judged for the way I look and what I do, and why am I running to fulfill the expectations of others and pleasing others? And now this kind of almost like freedom, that I have to be me. And what is me? I am that being, the self, the soul, the spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's what I am. And to emerge that, work on that, and refine that and understand that. And then I could drop all these other habits that I've almost developed, really, and these things that I've got entangled in, which is, living up to the expectations of others is one big one that used to bother me a lot. And so, another gift of life for me also is that I'm learning to manage myself. And it is for me a journey, no doubt. It's a journey and it's a path I'm on, and I'm continuing on that. But to realize that I am whole and good as a person, but there are weaknesses in me. There are strengths. There are also weaknesses. And I need to manage my weaknesses, because they can often come out in the form of emotions or negative traits. And so it's such a gift to realize I can manage myself, I can improve myself, and I'm responsible for my own thoughts, how I speak, how I conduct myself. Such a gift. And so also that has helped me learn to respect life, have regard for others, even though they may be different to me. But just as I have that, we hear honoring life. If I honor myself, I have that self-respect, then I can honor others, honor life. And one habit that I really have let go of is taking things for granted. As I honor myself, then I honor others and life. I stop taking for granted, and such appreciation for everything around me. And this, again, such a gift, because this, as Bhavesh was saying, develops your self-confidence. So I've seen my self-confidence grow, and it's not based on out there, it's based on who I am as an individual, as a person. But that in turn allows me to have regard for others around me. So all of this, it's like this wisdom that I've gained has created such a positivity in me, which is continually growing in me. And as I learn to connect to myself, this true self, the being, and hold on to that and not lose myself, not get lost in out there, because there's so much to get lost in, because there's so many things going on, so much uncertainty. But I'm able to look after myself, connect with myself, and that enables me then to manage myself in such an insecure, changing world, and face so many challenges, which I still continue to face, but I'm in a better place to handle them. Something I want to share that is one practical experience recently of someone that came to our meditation center and did the Raj Yoga meditation course. And soon after that, through life circumstances, he's found himself in prison. And we've been speaking regularly on the phone throughout this year and a half. And he shared a very interesting experience with me recently, that he's very, very happy, yet he's inside, and yet he's very happy because he meditates every day. He's on that journey of self-discovery. He's realizing his weaknesses that he wants to work on, his own, which we all have, our anger, our ego that maybe we never saw. And as he's stripping those away and discovering his true self, he's happy from the inside. And so a real indication that we think happiness is out there, I have to find it, run after it, and yet a real demonstration that it's what I am. And then managing a very challenging situation, very challenging, of course. He's managing well, as he thought it might break him, but it hasn't actually. So, and a few people I know who recently, even with severe health problems, and we're going to hear about Cherry in a minute, but they are managing themselves because they're grounded in them. They know who they are, they're working on themselves and using meditation as a tool to manage the challenges in their lives. I think my time might be up, so it was nice speaking to you all.
Thank you, Natalie. And one of the things that you shared at the beginning was the greatest gift in your life is peace and knowing who you are and being grounded in your spiritual journey, and being able to do that has enabled you to manage all aspects of your health and well-being. So thank you so much for sharing that. We really appreciate that. So thank you. So I'd now like to introduce our third speaker, Cherry Steinberg. Cherry, welcome. So Cherry was born in Newcastle on Tyne, and she shared with me that her grandparents were Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe. I didn't know this about you. And Cherry said to me that she was disaffected with all things religious when she was in her teens. But at the age of 26, she discovered the spiritual path taught by the Brahma Kumaris. But her career has been in occupational therapy. And Cherry, you said you've worked for over 20 years in the NHS as an occupational therapist and OT, and you specialize in hand therapy and rheumatology. But you retired from that, and then you ended up giving your time full-time volunteering with the Brahma Kumaris, and you've helped in the centers in Coventry, and now you're in Leeds. And you shared with me that you were diagnosed with cancer when you turned 60 years, and you underwent, surgery and chemotherapy, and currently you're in remission. So that's good news to know. So having been practicing, the meditation that you've acquired, you said you will share with us today your spiritual path. What has taught you in your spiritual path, and how you learn to value yourself for who you are rather than what you do, and how that has helped to sort of give you a huge support in facing a cancer diagnosis and your journey through it. So we'd really like to hear your experience. So I'll hand over to you now, Cherry. Thank you.
Thank you, Nimala. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I'm going to talk about the gift of life, but the past few days I've been thinking about the gift of this event, because in preparing for it and meeting up with the team, doing my own thinking, it's really helped me realize a few things about my cancer journey, knowing that I was going to share on it. So it's a gift to be here. But yeah, I'll cover a little background in a bit more detail of what Nirmala was saying about myself. And the whole theme of the gift of life, as both Bhavesh and Natalie have said, brings up this word appreciation. And I'm sitting here with appreciation for my life, because I have had quite a journey with our friend Mr. Cancer, or Mrs. Cancer, with my friend. And I appreciate getting my health back. As Bhavesh says, it's so important. And being where I am today, able to function quite well as part of a team of meditation teachers here in Leeds. I appreciate that, because there was a few years when that wasn't possible. So yeah, where to start here? My background, as Nirmala was saying, I come from the Northeast. You might not be able to tell, but I'm actually a Geordie. And yes, my grandparents were from Eastern Europe. I'm from a Jewish family, and my mum was a dressmaker who ran a business, and my dad worked for the telephones, and later it became BT. And they sent me and my sister off to a good school. We managed to get into grammar school, and both me and my sister did A levels. I had interest at that time in art, and as well as, actually I did art, maths and French at A level. I was very kind of arty and crafty as in making things. Anyways, with my mum's background in dressmaking, I went to Leeds University and got a degree in textile design, and headed off for a career which didn't last very long. The world of design didn't really suit me. So this echoes Natalie's story a bit, and Bhavesh is thinking about it. So after wandering from one job to another, and up and down the country, actually moving around a bit, I was back in Leeds. Yeah, and that's when I discovered my meditation path, when I discovered the Brahma Kumaris. And also took up some voluntary work in a local hospital. And what became apparent to me was that I love being with people, and I love helping people. Again, I think the three of us speakers have that in common. And so I headed for London, and a 3-year training in my late 20s in the wonderful profession of occupational therapy. Really wonderful principles in that profession of enabling people to reach their potential. So Bhavesh, if you've ever met any OTs, you would relate to them. And in 1988, how old was I? I was 29 or something. I headed for Coventry. I actually got sent there because they were opening a meditation center, and I was able to get a job anywhere in the country at that time, so with my new qualification. And from 88, for the next 30 years, I was in Coventry, and for 23 or so of them, I worked in the NHS, and I also helped and managed a meditation center. I loved it. Lots of opportunities to support people. What I wasn't doing that well was supporting myself, looking back. I was pretty tired. But anyway, at the age of 55, I took early retirement to kind of get a bit of balance back. And as Nirmala said, to just focus on my meditation teaching. I'd done a fair stint in the health service, and actually reluctantly, because I did love the work, I took the chance to retire early. And I met myself. Retirement is not as easy as some might think, because you've got time to see what's going on inside. And there was some kind of inner neglect, like neglecting a part of me that I didn't quite understand why I'd done that. So when I was just turned 60, this is the cancer journey bit, I started to feel unwell. And after various visits and investigations to doctors and hospitals, they spotted one small and one very large tumor, an ovarian tumor, which was almost like a house brick, and a small appendicular tumor. And my cancer marker was up. So there was a fair chance that these were malignant tumors. November 2017, I was under the knife, had total hysterectomy, part of my bowel, my appendix, and various other bits that this tumor had managed to, well, the two tumors had managed to get at removed. And spent some time after that recuperating, gathering strength, gathering weight, and this and that. And then a review by the surgeon was a bit of a blow, because yes, they were both cancerous. They were different cancers. For some reason, I grew two. It's quite clever to grow two different kinds of cancers, I think. Anyway, what the next news was, it's likely that because the ovarian cancer had adhered to parts of me, that some cancer cells may have leaked, so chemotherapy was strongly advised. And for various reasons, I got transferred back up to Leeds, actually, from the Midlands. I've got relatives here, and my sister said, come and we'll take care of you while you go through your chemo. So I was brought up to Leeds, and January to July 2018, I underwent 6 sessions of, it's called adjunct chemotherapy, 2 types of drug that they targeted my body with as a kind of a precaution against any cells that were floating around that were nasty ones. And yeah, chemo has its challenges. Like this went, I had no hair left after a while. And I was, on the whole, my body handled it well, but I was a bit weak anyway. Since then, I've been on a journey of recovery and putting on weight and eating better, and slowly come back to what you see, somebody who I am active in the world again. And I've been looking back on this journey with this theme of gift of life. And it's kind of, maybe I knew this, but it's clicked in my mind just this past week deeply, that I've definitely learned by stopping in my tracks due to the cancer to take care of my own physical and emotional needs. I was wanting to care for myself better, and now that's much more in place. It has to be, because when you're in recovery, you have to take care. But I have a little warning for myself. I see myself reverting to looking to the needs of others, which has been my passion, at the expense of my own needs. And so this lesson that in a way cancer has taught me that the gift of life is precious, very precious. But there's nothing more precious than the gift of my own life. And the one person who can take responsibility for the health of that life is me. That's, as I realize that deeply, it's helping me get the balance right. And I do aspire to keep that balance as I get busy again in supporting others. So yeah, I appreciate the gift of life big time. But I've got I'm underlining the gift of my own life as well as the lives of others. So thank you for this opportunity to share about this amazing topic, the gift of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherry. And that has been such a journey. So I really appreciate you taking us through that. And one of the things that you mentioned, about, wanting to care for others and putting others in front rather than yourself. And it just, dawned on me because I also do quite a lot of, work in the work that I do in the Mental Health Trust about self-care and how important self-care is, to be able to take time out to just care for yourself. So I guess that's in terms of your journey, what I've picked out is, how amazing it is to take that time and really spend with yourself, to get to know yourself, but also to care for yourself. So thank you. So we'll have opportunities now to ask questions to our three speakers in a bit, but what I'd like to invite you, if you do have any questions or comments for each of our three speakers, you can post them in the chat box. And while this is happening, I'd like to introduce you to Lucky C, who is not with us, but he sent us a video and he will give his introduction in a bit. But Lucky is a rapper, a UK hip hop writer, rapper and performer. And he has created a song, a video, and a song, Not Enough, which we would like to share with you. But a little bit about Lucky. His music ranges from hip hop, R&B, and a hint of Bhangra. He's been writing since his late teens and performing in various locations and events across UK and also in India. He has done a lot of awareness tracks, including themes like anti-bullying, mental health, autism, domestic violence, and knife crime. So as I said, Lucky's not with us in person, but he sent us his video of Hello and his song, Not Enough. So enjoy.
Hi, this is Lucky, and this explanation of the
Okay, so while we're having the video being loaded, if people want to start putting their questions or comments on the chat, that would be great.
of the song, Not Enough. So basically, in essence, it's about the journey of transformation. In the first verse, you're feeling different from the rest. You're meandering through the mountains of problems, you're drowning in vicious thoughts, and you're losing faith in the human race. The second verse is scattered with spiritual truths that there's a silver lining in everything. People may give you gifts of hate, but do you want to pick up the weight? And the wounds in your heart are soon to depart once you realize it's you who's in charge. And on the last verse, it's just showing the change from the original narrative that before my mindset was awful and weak, and now I can move forward with ease within my fortress of peace. And these minor blows, they really heighten my growth. it was the chiseling needed for transformation. The chorus is just echoing never to give up in a range of situations, whether it's bullying, bereavement, depression, trauma. It was really inspired by COVID times when I seen how much sorrow souls were in different scenarios. So I based the song loosely around them themes. It's relative to me as well. I felt different. I felt like an outcast. In my own journey, though, my feelings and attitude slowly start to change as I'm discovering who I truly am. And it's such a fortune to know who you truly are. It might sound simple, but it's the key in life. So I just want to share that with others too in whatever ways I can. Thank you.
Never give up, experiencing trauma, never give up. Keep moving forward, finding her love. You feel you had enough, don't ever give up. Trying to keep pure in a vicious world, a different breed. I know I'll be one, like a rose with thorns rising from the concrete, or a lowest flower that grows in a swamp. Meander through mountains, used to be cotton wool. Feeling horrible, these times are too intolerable. Overcome these obstacles, kinda seem impossible, but I still refuse to be a patient in life's hospital. All these late nights, wish I could erase time. It's a brave fight sometimes, having to face life. Drowning vicious thoughts voluntarily sometimes. Looking at the river of my thoughts run by. I'm losing faith in the human race, and I'm soon to break, cause I care what people think. My glow is gone, I'm still holding on. I, the soul is strong, express my emotions on this song. Come across bullying, never give up. Dealing with bereavement, never give up. Life can be tough when stuck in a rut. You feeling not enough, don't ever give up. Battle with depression, never give up. Struggle with addiction, never give up. Keep moving forward, finding our love. You feel you had enough, don't ever give up. There's a silver lining in everything that we see. Forgive and move forward, they'll be setting you free. Give good wishes, pure feelings to each soul that you meet. The thoughts you think you feel first personally. People give presents and many gifts of hate, but it's in your power, you wanna pick up the weight. Don't let the behavior destroy your inner peace. Battling demons is the biggest enemy you'll ever be. Negative thoughts can eat you alive, while positive thoughts can heal you inside. So ride the storm, visualize your form. Rise high now, don't hide behind the norm. Truthfully, life's an opportunity to see what you can be and grow beautifully. The wounds in your heart are soon to depart. Once you realize it's you who's in charge. Come across bullying, never give up. Dealing with bereavement, never give up. Life can be tough when stuck in a rut. You feeling not enough, don't ever give up. Battle with depression, never give up. Facing anxiety, never give up. Keep moving forward, finding her love. You feel you had enough, don't ever give up. My mindset before was awful and weak. Hold my head high now, move forward with ease. No one can touch me in my fortress of peace. And all the minor blows hide my growth and make your inner voice the kindest you know. You are peace. You are love. You are the soul. You are the hero actor playing out your role. Come across bullying, never give up. Dealing with bereavement, never give up. Life can be tough when stuck in a rut. You feeling not enough, don't ever give up. Battle with depression, never give up. Experiencing trauma, never give up. Keep moving forward, finding our love. You feel you had enough, don't ever give up. Be the architect of your own destiny. It was all about the journey while reaching the destination. When things change inside you, things change around you. You are the stars that enlighten the whole world.
So wasn't that amazing, the words of that song and the confidence and the ability to be able to cope? So I hope you enjoy that. And so the singer is Lucky C. If you Google Lucky C from Leicester, you'll be able to get onto his website. So I'd like to invite now the other speakers first to go into a question and answer session. So Bhavesh, welcome again. If you can unmute your mics, that would be great. and Cherry. So I hope you all enjoy that video, and I'm sure you in some form related to some of the words in there. So someone had posted how much they are with you, Cherry, in your journey, and how they have been doing some charity work for Macmillan by shaving their hair to raise awareness and money for cancer, and how they would keep you in their hearts when they have that event of their dad who passed away of cancer for his 70th birthday. So just to let you know, people are with you and sending their positive thoughts.
Thank you for that. Beautiful.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, and maybe we could start with you, Cherry, if that's okay, because someone asked about what changes have you made in terms of moving towards your self-care, and if you want to maybe just share a little, and then I'll ask Natalie to comment on that. So what changes have you made in your life towards moving towards your own self-care?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, it's when my health started to improve enough to involve myself in kind of activities I used to do, I could feel myself slipping into old habits, you know. And so something that I put in place, which I do most days, is I call it a meeting with myself. And it's usually around 9 in the morning. And for about half an hour, I just sit quietly and determined not to get on and do anything, but to just reflect on the day and timetable in some self-care things, look at what I can achieve today, get real about what's practical. And that meeting with myself is something that really helps me keep my self-care going. I also journal each day a little bit, where I'll just try and meet my heart, see what questions are burning inside. And sometimes just finding the questions, writing them down, helps me to keep in touch with things that really matter, that can get covered up in the busyness of life. So those are a couple of things that I've put in place now.
Thanks, Cherry. Natalie, do you want to comment on what you have been doing?
Yeah, as you've heard me talk a lot about, no day goes by without meditation, whether you want to call it reflection or contemplation, but it's not empty. It's filled with appreciating myself and my qualities and my values, appreciating time for silence, because I really believe that I can refresh and recharge myself in that silent time. But also one aspect of my meditation, just as Cherry said, was I do evaluate myself. I look at maybe the beginning of the day, if I know something challenging is coming, I will look at it in the best possible light and prepare for that. Like I prepare physically, if I'm going somewhere, have I got everything? I prepare my mind. And so also at the end of the day, I like to evaluate, not long, none of us have much time, but I will reflect on what went well and what didn't go so well, and what were the triggers that brought out maybe parts of me that weren't so good. So I want to look at that, but not feeling bad about it, but to understand myself more deeply. So that's something that's become regular in my life. Another aspect to this also is self-care, is really keeping an eye on what my aim in my life is. What am I here for? And, you know, one aspect of this, which it was on the program actually, was about following your dream. And for me, my dream is to be my best, reach my full potential. So to keep that awareness all the time in me, what's my aim, what's my dream, to keep reminding myself that when maybe a challenge comes in front of me, I'm reminding myself of what is my dream, what's my aim. So to keep coming back to that, I think that's important also for me.
Thanks, Natalie. Bhavesh, you want to add anything in terms of your self-care and what you do?
For me, self-care is obviously with health and fitness, and it's movement. It's being able to use your physical vehicle as a means to go forward. And you've got to take care of that almost vessel that we're born in, and we're able to carry on through life. So for me, the anchors for me is movement and exercise. Being able to get daylight, be able to get the heart flow, blood flow pumping, and for me that's my self-care. For me to be present in everyone else's life and to be able to give everything I can to my work and the people around me, I've got to be 100% in me. So I've almost got to fill my vessel up before I can help anyone else. And sometimes people think like it's a lot of time, but at the end of the day, that time is for yourself, and you've got to be selfish with that time to be able to be selfless. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Lovely. And there is a question for you, Bhavesh, and it's with your background in sports, can positive thoughts help your favorite football team win? Or they say, put it another way. So the question is, can you feel the support of those who are cheering you or supporting you in a non-physical or spiritual way? Any thoughts on that?
I think you can. I think for instance, if you walk into a room and the energy is also almost positive, if it's positive, you feel it. If it's negative, you also feel that. So I think you definitely can. As with that positive thought to help your team win, I'm not sure, but if you've got others around you, I think you definitely feel that support. And sometimes it's the presence of people, not on what they say or how loud they are. It's just the person being there. Okay.
Natalie, would you like to add anything? I'm sure you would.
Yeah, I think definitely the power of positivity, because thoughts are energy. So if you're having good thoughts, then that energy, and it can impact my body. There's no doubt about that. I know it helps me if I'm feeling a bit unwell. I make sure I have more positive thoughts than negative thoughts, because I know that that helps heal me. Thoughts are energy, so it's beneficial to me. And also maybe I definitely send good thoughts out there. Why not? If you want someone to win, send them out there, but let go of the expectation. Send them out there, go for it. Why not? Because it's energy, and energy reaches through walls, across the world. But also the key, what I learned through meditation is let go of expectation or the outcome. So I think that's very important to remember that. So yeah.
So I'd like Cherry to maybe, when you were going through your challenge of cancer, lots of your friends in the Brahma Kumaris would have been sending you good wishes. So did that reach you? How did it feel when you were going through that, treatment? You'll have to unmute, Cherry.
Sorry about that. I just was taken back to the days of lying in hospital, and it was so real to me. And I used to tell my visitors, and not just my friends in the Brahma Kumaris, but other friends and relatives too, were sending their love. And I used to talk about it a bit like a crazy person. Don't you see? It's love that makes the world go round. I can feel I am held. I used to talk like this. I'm being held in this web of love. I could feel it tangibly. And it was a invisible support at that time that it took me to a level where the things going on in my body were going on, and they were uncomfortable. But it's like it was so apparent that there was this other level of people's good wishes was happening, very real. And I'm sure it helped my healing. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So Bhavesh, here's a question for you. It says, how do people's action change to their own health and fitness? Do you want to comment on that?
So repeat that question again.
How do people action change to their own health and fitness?
I think you've got to start wherever you are. Don't ever think that someone else is fitter than you or someone's 10 steps ahead. You've got to start wherever you are, and I think you've got to start with something that you enjoy and something you're capable of doing. And it could be as simple as just walking for 10 minutes and building that up gradually, giving yourself that confidence then to progress onto further things. And at the same time, we're not experts in every field. And so we can reach out to people that are experts to take you in the best hands, to be able to help you, to be able to achieve whatever you wish to achieve. And you'll be surprised at what you can achieve. Once you accomplish one goal, it will lead on to other things. So start with something small, reach out for help if you need it, and go from there.
Lovely. Anyone else wants to comment, Cherry or Natalie, on taking it small steps, one at a time, and asking for help? And it's okay to ask for help. Cherry?
Both those things mean a lot to me, Bhavesh. Getting real about doing small steps. Some tasks can feel daunting, and yeah, I can remember when I could only walk a short distance after being unwell, and just going that little bit further, I would come back home and think, yeah, I'm a few houses further down the street. But the other thing Bhavesh said is also important to me, and I think I'd neglected that. There's people around me who are my resources, experts and friends. Take their help. You don't think you have to do it all on your own. Really important. Yeah.
Thanks, Cherry. Natalie, do you want to add anything in terms of the work that you do as a chaplain, and how that supports people by getting them to sort of really focus on one thing at a time?
Yeah, I think in the university there is a lot of stress, especially now because exams are looming and there's lots of pressure from the outside. And so again, definitely the practice of keeping in check with your mind and your thoughts, as you said, the positive thoughts, and really realizing that I can calm my own self down by the way I think. And this does take some work, and step by step by step. It's not something that I can change overnight, because we're so used to reacting to external circumstances and stresses because of something out there. So encouraging students and staff, particularly the students, that to just a simple thought, I am calm. Keep saying that. And actually I had one experience of a student who was very, very stressed, and it was making her very ill in the body as well. And she just was practicing I am peace. And she shared with us how much of a difference it made by creating that thought amongst all the other thoughts. So these are powerful thoughts that can actually help me calm myself down. And I'm taking responsibility. I'm in charge of me. So yeah, small steps, small thoughts, but positive.
Okay, thanks, Natalie. And here's a question for you. You say that we have to bring spirituality, meditation into our lives, and yet we are all so busy. How do we get that balance? What's your experience of how you do it?
For me, it starts with the meditation. I think it begins with me, because I bring me into every aspect of my life. So I focus on myself, the core of my being, and keeping that positive, powerful mindset. I think when I work on that, it's easy to work on all other areas of my life, because we have so much work, home life, social life. And before, I used to try and juggle to make all that right, all those things outside, and forget myself in the process. And yet this is a much simplified approach, is when I'm steady and comfortable in myself. And of course it's a journey, step by step, but then I can manage all the other facets of our life. We are all so busy. And in fact, one thing that stops people meditating is that they say they don't have time. And so now, I think we've got just a minute, one minute meditations. And actually 3 nights ago, I was at Loughborough University, and I was in front of 107, their Typhoon Squadron, if I'm allowed to say that. They're like military, and they're doing their degree at Loughborough University. So I had quite a challenge on my hand talking about self-development. And so we practiced a 1-minute meditation, actually. So it doesn't take long. And they did it. They sat through it. We've all got 1 minute, haven't we? Yeah.
Thanks, Natalie. So Bhavesh, just for you to share your thoughts on how do you bring it in balance. You know, people are so busy. How do you get people to really take that time out to come and maybe join you in the gym, or to do whatever, you know, you're helping them with to achieve their aim at home? Because, you know, how do you encourage people to be able to actually, you know, take that small step?
You've almost got to find a meaningful reason for what's important to you. And until that kind of penny drops for you, or until that attachment that you linked between your goal and what it means and interact the two, it becomes very hard. So you've got to find that meaning first. And then almost the piece of the puzzle will just flow together, because you'll find importance of taking that time out to go to the gym. You'll find that importance of then relaying that to your food and nutrition, and then be more mindful. The meditation aspect that Natalie spoke about, there's different ways and forms of it. When we spoke before, is that for me, meditation comes through the aspect of training or being out for a walk, and being in your own thoughts comes from many ways. And so find that attachment where you feel like you can do all combination of things without having to just like separate your day or allocate time for each individual thing. You can accomplish multiple things in one go. So yeah, find a meaningful reason, and the piece of the puzzle will flow together.
Lovely, thank you. So Cherry, a final question. What advice would you give someone facing a cancer diagnosis?
Something kicked in for me when my illness came on, and it was about finding my voice. So I had difficulty getting doctors to really listen to me at first, and that was quite scary because I wasn't well. I started chatting with a friend before seeing a doctor and thinking about what's my aim, what do I want out of this consultation? And then going into the meeting with the doctor and afterwards talking it through. And so it helped me find my voice and express what was going on inside and deal with some really hard consultations. So I guess what I advise is don't try and do it alone. Take your friends along with you. Because there'll be people around who will just be a listener for you, an advocate for you. It's a journey that you can share with other people.
Thank you. So I think that's all the time we have now for our question and answer session. So I'd like to thank you for taking your time, so Bhavesh, Natalie and Cherry, to share your personal sharing of your life journey, the gift of life, the wisdom that you shared with us this afternoon. So thank you very much. To our audience for taking the time to be with us this afternoon on Zoom and on streaming live on Facebook. We do have a next event, Honoring Life event, which we would like to share with you. So the slide that's there, it's the date is Sunday, the 30th of January. So a date to save for your calendar, again at 5 p.m, where we'll be looking at the whole idea of losing hope and instilling hope in the hopeless. So one of the main ideas we want to focus on this is really, the whole aspect of people taking their own lives. So that will be one of the aspects we would focus. So we also would like, if you want a reminder for this event, do go to our Janki Foundation website and you can register for our events, which we will then send you. So I just want to say also special thanks to our planning and technical teams who have worked so effortlessly behind the scene for things to go smoothly. And I think, you know, we got there, we're getting there. So the next slide gives some useful sources of support. And you know, the three of our speakers this evening have mentioned how important it is to ask for help. And so if you are in any way in need of some sort of support, what's on this slide, it's also on the Janki Foundation website, so you could go to the website and access it, the links for whichever support you think you need at this moment. So we're going to end this session with just a few moments of reflection. And we'd like to ask you to just reflect on what you have learned so far from what the speakers have shared, and any tips that you have taken from today's event. And while you're reflecting on this, the next slide asks us to, what is the gift of life for you? So just spend just a moment in quiet to reflect. So what have I learned? What am I taking away? And if you can complete this sentence for you, the gift of life is, and if you can write it in the chat box, it would be nice. And while you're doing that, we'd like to end with a song by Bliss. It says, "Come into the light." So enjoy.
Where do I go with all these feelings and all these faces and open doors when everyone else seems so serene and I just feel so insecure? And where do I go when all the pieces of my heart lay on the floor? You say, come into the light, why don't you? Come into the light, why don't you? Come on now, come into the light. Where do I go with all these memories and all these bags filled up with shame? And how should I feel when you call me an angel and dress me in a crown of gold? And what should I do when tears of sorrow just won't stay inside these eyes? You say, come into the light, why don't you? Come into the light, why don't you? Come on now, come into the light. What should I do when a gentle-headed reaches out to take my own? And how should I feel when tears of joy, they just won't stay inside these eyes? And what will I do when I start to love you and really trust and know you're there? You say, you'll be in the light where I am. You'll be in the light where I am. Come on now, come into the light. You'll be in the light
Thank you all for joining us in this Honoring Life series. On behalf of the Janki Foundation for Spirituality and Healthcare and the Brahma Kumaris, we'd like to wish you well for this Christmas festive season, to keep safe, to be well, and to remember taking moments of peace, to just be with yourself is really a gift of life. So thank you and good night.